give attendance. So types of system software, operating system software, utility softwares. I had given a brief outline of all these softwares: device drivers, language translators. Now we will see little more content for all these headings. Operating system. Operating system is the core software. Understood? That is a main software which we have to. Without operating system, we cannot do anything, right? So that is the core software that allows a user to interact with the hardware of a computer. On top of hardware, we will be installing all the system softwares. So the core software which has to be installed is our operating system. Operating systems provide services that include process management, disk management. There are many services provided by our operating system. So security, file management, all inside your drives, how these files and folders are managed, and what are the processes currently running. I was showing with the task manager, right? And disk management, virtual memory, all these comes under operating system. So fault tolerance. So before closing or deleting, you will be getting an alert message, and some of the system software you are not supposed to delete. So it will not allow the user to delete such softwares. User interface, how the each from, if you try to see the previous Windows versions, Windows XP, or even before that Windows, different versions, if you see, you will understand that the look and feel of the how the user can interact with the with that system is different for each of the different versions. In between Windows 8 came, and depending upon, or when they get some input from the user that it is not user friendly, they will do some modification for the user interface also, graphical user interface. Okay, so the different operating systems are having different user interfaces. And most of that, why we are going for Windows and MS Office software is only because of the graphical user interface, better graphical user interface which Windows provide. There are other softwares, other operating systems which you may not have used also, as I told. This one, Ubuntu or Fedora, all these are free softwares. Actually Windows is paid software, right? We have to pay for the OS, but most of you will be using pirated, I know, but still this Windows operating system, we have to pay for it, for the genuine Windows activation key and all. But other softwares, Fedora, other flavors of Linux and all, no, it is free to use, but still we are not that much comfortable in using with the Ubuntu and Fedora and all, because the user interface that they provide nowadays it is better, but in the beginning, even if it is free also, but we are not used to, we cannot fully change into that operating system. Some of the features are not that much user friendly, so the user interface also matters, right? So there are different OS which I have given few example: Windows, Unix, Mac OS, Apple iOS, Android. All these are the different types of operating system. All operating system softwares will be having one thing in common. All these management things and all, no, it comes under operating system software. So disk management, virtual memory, even in your Android phone, you know how different apps are getting installed, where exactly the download will happen. All these has to be managed by the Android operating system. And different versions, why it is coming up, new features when they add, they will give a new version. Some of them, no, they are giving like a 1.2, 2.2. Now they are naming it as different, version 10 is different name, like that. Now Windows also, we had different versions of Windows operating system. Are you all there listening?
Yes, ma'am.
These topics are very asking questions, so I feel no one is there. That's right. Yesterday, I was trying to interact, because when we take like this, we will feel that nobody's listening. That's why. So after that, actually that is happening, no? All are in some other world. I should give these topics, simple topics, as a presentation topics to you people. You people should prepare the PPT and take. Utility software. Utility software is a system software designed to help in the analyzing and configuring and optimizing or maintaining a computer. All these, it's not that much essential as operating system software, but in order to have an optimized performance of the computer, as I had shown you, right, the task manager and all, it will be showing which process is taking more memory, those things and all. If you want to see such utility such softwares are coming under utility softwares. And if you want to configure drives, this much GB for my drive, all this you'll be doing, I think, no, that management and all. Mostly you will be doing in if you go for my PC manage, or many of these softwares, disk management. So you will be able to see what are the different drives, how much it is allocated, is it a healthy condition. So what are the other things, if you want to again make it into two other split into two drives, all those. And but you can't just directly delete it, you have to take a backup and then do. But I'm telling, all these you can see task schedules, all these are coming under utility softwares. What other services, event views, all these are coming under performance, see. So these are all coming under utility softwares also, which will be, again, task manager is the best example. Defragmentation, as I told, that is also utility software, but now you don't have, we are not, I think in Windows operating system itself, they have incorporated. So defragmentation, all these are coming under utility software. Backup recovery, if you have some system crash, you will be having that backup recovery, or restore points to a date if you have set. If you restore the system to that point, you will be able to recover all the data up to that. It will be deleted, and then from that day's data onwards, what all we have installed up to that date, it will be restored. So such softwares, registry cleaner, all these are coming under utility softwares. Device drivers, in the first slide itself, I had told you, device drivers is a program that controls a particular type of device that is attached to the computer. Suppose I bought a new printer, so I should be configuring that printer, right? So in order for the printer to understand the instructions sent by our laptop, suppose I want to print one document, I'll be just triggering the print, right? So if that device driver is installed in my laptop, then only that printer will be understanding the commands which is sent by my laptop, right? So it should be connected and it should be installed with the device drivers. So it is a particular type of software which will be helping the device. What all devices you may be having, even a mobile phone, when you initially we were installing the device drivers, and now USB, if you connect, it's all like accessible, right? So in the beginning and all, we had to install some even for modem, everything, we had some device drivers. Device drivers convert the general input-output instructions of the operating system to messages that the device type can understand. So from the operating system which is installed in our laptop, it will be sending some messages. These messages, the devices has to understand, right? That is converted, or that act as a device drivers will be acting as a mediators who will be communicating, who will be converting the instructions sent by the operating system which is installed in our laptop to the devices which is connected, like our printer, all those scanner, all these devices which are connected to our system. So device drivers for printers, display. Now we don't have no display driver and all, Wi-Fi routers. When we were having the other previous operating systems and all, for each of that, audio, display driver, separately we had to install. Now nothing like that. All it is incorporated in the operating system software. So device driver for the printers alone, I think we are installing now. Even routers, Linksys and all, those router softwares also, device drivers are there. So these are nothing but which converts the general input output instructions. Some messages will be sent to the printer, and printer also will be communicating back to the system, right? Or the laptop or the system what you are using. So all those input output instructions of the operating system or the system in which we are connecting the printer to messages. It will be converted into messages that the device type can understand. So if it is a printer, it should understand those commands which are sent to that printer. Many device drivers are built in the operating system. Without the driver file, the computer will be unable to communicate with the device. So unless we install the device driver of that particular model, we will not be able to communicate with that device. Is it clear? So this much content only I got for each of these, no? And as I told, only few questions will be asked. So language translator is the another category of which type of software? Let me ask. So under which category this software is coming? Ken, Edwin? Ken, are you there? Ken, only 37 participants. Ken, are you there? I can see you. So tell me, what is the exam? What type of software is language translator? Language translator. Ken, are you there? You were not there in the morning class, right? What type of software is language translator? So you're absent, Ken. You know, I need immediate answer. After that, in WhatsApp, don't send me. If you are not having any problem with the internet, no, you can send a message in the chat box. Then when I am asking alone, you are not having problem, no? Whenever somebody is not answering, then I will get a message after. So message in the chat box. Instead of sending, I am not able to unmute, you can message in the chat box. I need immediate answer. After a delay, you can't give answer. Ken, I never heard your sound. Ken, can you speak? Unmuting and all, it's possible. Okay, answer in the chat box. What type of software? I need answer. You need not unmute. Answer in the chat box. Tell me an example of, Ken, are you there? Manoj. Language translator is an example of, Manoj Reddy. Manoj is an example of, language translator is an example of. Pavan, correct answer, correct. Sahana also correct. Mohammed Sahil. Google application software example, Google Translator. Okay. We know the language translator. We know you are correct. Meenakshi, is it an application software or system software? Language translator. I'm not asking for the Google Translator and all. Language translator. Language translator here I mean compiler, interpreter and assembler. In the slide you can see, right? Compiler, interpreted. I mean the translator from high level language to low level language. What type of software I'm asking? Is it an application software or system software? System software. Okay, so these are not, we are not using, right? It is all system software. Internally, there is language translators which will be converting the high level language into low level binary code or machine level language. Okay, language translators convert the high level language to machine level language for the purpose of machines understanding, our systems understanding, right? We will understand only high level language, machine will understand only binary code, right? So that is zeros and one. So the machine can understand only our machine, the machine level language or binary language, which is zeros and one. The language translator. rectify the errors within the program through we had one subject called compiler design. So you will see how difficult it was, and then it was removed from MCA and BCA. I think TOC one subject is there. Compiler design. It's very difficult to learn also, but it's interesting, this compiler design. So in compiler design, we will be learning how these high-level languages are converted, or how what are the steps for understanding or rectifying the errors, how the each programming softwares will be compiling. Those are taught in compiler design. So one subject we had in MCA, so that nowadays it is removed, I think. So many failures will be there in that. It's interesting, but initially only we should understand the concept, then only. So all these are coming under system software. These are not our Malayalam to English or Kannada and all. No, it's not language, our language translators. These are from high level language to machine level language. So with this topic is over. So only 2 questions I have seen in the previous university question paper. Define system software. What is a system software? And another question which I have seen is, what is a software? Mention the classification of software. That too may be asked only for 2 marks and all. The content is not that much, but sometimes if they ask, it may be asked for 5 marks. I don't remember whether it is. So mostly it will be asked only for 2 marks. Understood? Define system software and what is the software, and mention the classification of software. Classification of software, you can write it as application software and system software. And what are the different, that's why I gave little more content for system software. System software also I gave what are the different categories, and also application software. Application software mostly we don't find, but I saw that in one website they have given general application software and specific softwares. So that is the end of this topic. Now we will move on to the next topic, which was left from the first unit. That is also that much questions were not asked, only 2-3 questions. So I'll take it. I always know students will be asking, why ma'am this is not there in that and I have taken or not, you will be doubting. So I thought I'll finish it off. What is it? Structural programming. Okay. So with that, 2-3 topics. Our first unit will get over. 1 minute. I didn't keep it ready. Okay, structured programming. So structured programming, initially if I take, no, you will not understand. That's why I thought of finishing some topics and then go back to. So 2 more topics which are there in our first unit syllabus is structured programming and modular programming. This also they used to ask for 2 mark question. Only 2 questions hardly used to come from this topic. Structured programming and modular programming. So initially we had studied, even in the first chapter we studied what is a computer program. What is a computer program? Why we write a program? Now we understood. Now we wrote C program. Each line we are instructing the computer to perform a certain. So if I give printf, it should print on the monitor. If I give scanf, it should accept a input from the user. And if I am asking some calculation, it has to be done and assigned to a particular variable. So it is a list of instructions that tells a computer what to do for a problem. Why we write a program also we know, in order to solve a particular problem, right? To perform a particular task. Our aim is, why we write a program? Why we write a program? We may have some task to be executed, or we may have some problem to be solved, right? That is our aim. So in order to solve these 2 cases, we write a program. It can be a C program, or it can be C++ or any other modern high-level languages. So what is computer programming? Computer programming. So we are all studying programming, right? It's a process of writing computer program. So program is nothing but a list of or set of instructions, and we write the process of writing the computer program is called programming. And what is programming language? A language which the computer can understand. So Anyway, you know that programming languages, again, we saw the categories: high level language and low level language. The language which computer directly understand will be our machine level language or binary code. But we, for us, for our easiness, we are writing in high level language, and then the language translators will be converting it into machine level language, right? So when we started writing the programming languages, the characteristics of a good program in the beginning, you know, all these started long back, and we studied about the history of programming languages, when which year it was started. So when they started writing a computer program, the main characteristics of good program was it should be understandable, it should be manageable, it should be verifiable, reliable, secure, and usable. So once we wrote a computer program, it should be in such a way that it can be reused, and it should be clearly understood, and it should be manageable, reliable. Reliability is another important factor, right? Reliability should be there, and even security should be there. Now, the programming methodology in this, so we know what is a program, why we are writing a program, and what are the basic things which characteristics of a good program we understood. Now, over the years, each computer software engineers, you know, they were trying to develop good program. So the different steps of yeah, getting into a good programming language. In the beginning, they all started with an unstructured programming language. So we started the programming languages which were unstructured. I'll tell you what is unstructured. So just for your understanding, I'm just keeping in one slide. So we had unstructured programming. After that we had a delay, and then we started with a structured programming. So our C program, C++, and all, it's coming under structured programming. So whatever basic or some other Fortran, all those, you know, it is little unstructured programming. Those which are not having a particular sequence or order, a proper in C we have now studied decision making and then branching, decision making and looping. So some blocks were delimited using curly bracket. It was highly structured way of writing the program. But in unstructured programming, we were not using any decision making statements. We were just making tell me an example for an unconditional uh, branching statement or a looping statement. You know, if for loop, while loop, if statements and switch statements, all these are based on a condition, we will make a branching, or based on a decision, we will make a looping of the statement. Tell me an example for which or any of the looping or the branching statement which was doing without any condition checking. And I had emphasized that day, this is an example for an unconditional branching or looping. It can be used for unconditional. We don't mention in bracket the condition. Let me see who is able to answer in the chat box. Which is that statement we studied in both the chapters. I give a clue also. Which is that statement which can be used without any condition given in bracket. You know, if we are using if statement, you have to give condition in bracket. While if you are using, which is a looping statement, you have to give the condition to be checked in the bracket. Tell me the looping statement or the branching statement. Are you all listening or what? Which is that statement which can do a jump or a looping without checking a particular condition. Based on a name, it can do the jumping. Any one of you? Deepak, switch case, based on a condition, right? After switch, we will give in bracket the case, no, the choice what we accepted. Do while, Anina, that also after do, after while we will be giving a do, we will mention in the beginning. In the while bracket, we will mention the condition. We know the if else also, Vismaya, after if we will be giving a bracket where we will give the condition. In bracket, we will give the condition. The one statement which will not use this bracket to mention the condition. Nobody. Sangvi, for loop also we have. Continue. Okay. Continue somewhat. Continue, Sachin has answered. Go to is the correct answer. Continue also correct, no problem. But we will always give if, Sachin, if condition, then continue, like that. The one example which you can mention always for an unconditional jump is go to. Meenakshi, you are correct. Only Meenakshi has answered. Now Rahul also. Okay. So mainly in unstructured programming, they were not checking any condition. Just they will be asking, they'll be giving a sentence like go to, which is performing an unconditional jump. So that was a problem. It will not be in an organized manner. Here and there we'll be giving a go to that line number we'll be giving. I think I had studied for basic in my school that time. We had used this one. So it was like unstructured go to and all, it will be there. I remember. I don't clearly remember all the syntax, but I'm telling. So there were some languages in the beginning which was unstructured. Later, we came up with the structured programming. So it is not a name of a programming language. So all those languages which are using some condition to be checked and particular order and using brackets, curly bracket for delimiting or to make a block of statements. For a block of statements, if you are using a curly bracket, and we are making this set of lines to be executed for a particular condition, such type of languages were known as structured programming. Got it? After that, it came as procedural programming. So as I told, in C also we will be learning about functions. In the second unit, last chapter is functions. So we know that till now we were not using any function call. So a more defined way was after structured programming came the procedure programming, and again came the modular programming. There are certain difference between the function call and procedure call and modular programming. After all these set of programming, then came our object-oriented programming. C++, Java and all are based on the object-oriented concept. Since these were the main programming methodologies, completely in the beginning, we had only unstructured programming. So after that era, we started with the structured programming, and these three comes under the structured programming. Whether it is more defined in structured itself, you can see in this figure. In structured, more restrictions were done for the procedural, and in structured and in procedural programming, few more restrictions were done to give modular programming. Got it? So these three are coming under the same category, structured, procedural and modular, but it's all well defined and a more restricted ways of using the structured programming. Unstructured is not at all coming along with this, and again object oriented programming is not cannot be fit into the structured programming. It is entirely different type of programming using objects and classes, which you have, some of you might have studied C++, right? All and Java, C++, all these are coming under object-oriented programming. That is a main concept which we are following now in the programming languages. So whatever I explained in the previous slide, I have kept over here. Unstructured programming. Unstructured programming consists of only one main program. As we are writing the C program now, we don't have any function calls, right? So after the second unit, last chapter, we will also start with the functions. So we had in unstructured programming only the main program, only one one block of program will be there with a sequence of commands or instructions or statements. But so I have kept one example over here. We were using this in this type of programming languages. We didn't have proper condition checking and all. This also I have given, but still in next. Mainly it will be having go to 5. I didn't get any proper example. So it was like it will be jumping without any condition, go to 5. Then again from here it will reach here. So especially when you are using go to statements, it is not a good way of programming. Always you should be using, I told no, if it ends in a infinite loop, in order to come out of go to, we should be always checking whether we will be able to come out properly out of a go to loop, because we are not giving any condition in bracket. So this type of unstructured way of writing the program, which is consisting of only one main program with a sequence of commands and statements, that was known as the unstructured programming. Code with complex structures with only global variables. So what is here's the we have studied there are two types of variable declaration. One is global variable, which will be accessible for all the functions, and the other one is local variable, which is accessible only for a particular function. So in unstructured programming, if I'm using a variable s, it will be available throughout the program. Got it? It will be available throughout the program. If I'm using a variable n, it will be accessible throughout the program. So there is no a restriction of the use of variables. So it is like global variable. Global variable means it will be accessible throughout the program. So many arbitrary jumps were there. I gave one example like this. There will be arbitrary means just suddenly there will be a jump using go to statements. So what was a disadvantage of using unstructured program? It is difficult to understand, hard to follow the flow of the program, and difficult to modify. So they will be writing and writing. So for a small program only I have written these many lines. So if you are developing a big software, how many lines of code will be there? It will be very difficult to understand from here where it is going. Go to 5, I'm giving in 70th as a 70th instruction. Imagine if you have thousands of code, lines of code, then the jumps were hard to understand, and we have to again take the program control to that line. From there we have to understand again, right? So it was hard to follow and also difficult to modify. If some changes has to be done, yeah, when you are writing, you will remember this and all, it's okay. We are writing the statement in a sequence. But afterwards, if you want to modify, it was difficult to do. It was difficult to understand. It was hard to follow. So these were the disadvantages of writing a unstructured program. Okay. Now, after this came the structured programming. To overcome the disadvantage of the unstructured programming, structured programming was developed in the late 1950s and to improve the clarity, quality, and the development time. So, if the developer of an unstructured program kit from the company and it has to be continued with another developer, software developer, it will be very difficult for that second person to take over, right? It will be very hard to understand. So, Sujay, 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 are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Here, what is the difference, main difference between unstructured and structured programming? What was the disadvantage of unstructured programming? Eh? What was the disadvantage of unstructured programming? Just now I told, no? From unstructured we came to structured programming.
5 minutes I was disconnected, ma'am.
5 minutes before what topic I was taking? What topic I was taking? You remember what topic? 5 minutes before I was taking
You
which?
were starting unstructured and unstructured programming.
So last chapter in the morning, what I was teaching? The topic which I was teaching morning. Very difficult, no? All are waiting to see me. Which is this man? Laughing. Sujay,
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
we can't just leave and go. Okay. It's all for your benefit, if I just take all the topics and run away, my duty is over. But I have to make sure that you people are getting. That's why I'm asking. Don't take it like this ma'am. Okay. Then the difficulty of using the structured programming, it is not organized, and it will be for any new developer to come and understand the flow, and also it is also was difficult to write the program using unstructured programming. Many lines of code, if it is there, it is very difficult, right? So to overcome all these disadvantages, structured programming was developed to improve the clarity, quality, and development time. So the structured programming focused on avoiding these type of, so the main disadvantage was in between we will be giving some unconditional jumps, right? and it will be suddenly coming up, and then the control has to start from that point. So avoiding such arbitrary jumps, go to statements, and having more control structures. Control structures, what do you mean by control structures? So what are the control structures we have studied till now? If I use another term, you should be knowing. In C, we had studied some of the control structures. In Java, they will use only the term control structures. So don't think that control structures we didn't learn.